Corey Atwood here from Bagogames.com, and I'm here at the Boston Festival of Indie Games. I'm here speaking with...
Joe Mirabello.
And what are you guys showing off here today?
We're showing off Tower of Guns. It's a roguelike-ish thing, first-person shooter. If you imagine it's kind of like FTL or Binding of Isaac mixed with Quake. Specifically Quake, like an old-school, fast-paced first-person shooter.
Those are quite the games to combine in one full game.
They are, and it's very it's a refreshing kind of different kind of gameplay. It's very fun to work on. There's random levels, random loot, random enemies, random bosses. But it's also a very short, digestible game. If you're going to win, you're going to do it over a lunch break. It's just going to take you many, many, many tries to do it. So the replayability, the randomness really lends itself to the replayability.
Yeah, I saw it from a distance. What attracted me to the game is the art style. It looks almost, is it cell shaded?
It's not cell shaded technically, but I do like hand draw all the textures. So it has a very cartoony, comic booky kind of look. It's kind of like a garish junkyard kind of art aesthetic. But it's a lot of fun to work on the art, and it's also the kind of artwork that I know I can do by myself really quickly, because I'm a single-person team, so I have to be very smart in how I make all of my decisions, whether that's design or programming or artwork. I've got to make sure that I keep it all within scope of what a single person can do.
So it's just you on the entire team, huh?
With the exception of my brother, who does the soundtrack. He does all the composing for it, and my wife kind of acts like a producer and makes sure that I'm not wasting my time on things that nobody will care about. But
it's good to have someone to do that.
Otherwise, it's just me.
So tell me about, so what's the overall goal of the game? I know that it's randomized, and it looks like you go into like a funhouse sort of area. I saw that you choose guns in the beginning. So tell me about what your end goal is in the game.
Well, the end goal is to climb to the top of the tower. I'm not talking too much about the story yet, because the stuff I'm playing around with story, I'm not sure if it's fun enough yet to be committed to. But the basic goal is to get to the top of the tower. And in the very beginning, you can choose a gun and you can choose a perk. And that kind of is your class. Like in FTL, the ships were kind of your class. In a first-person shooter, the gun really changes the way you play the game. So that becomes your class. So you choose your gun, choose your perk, and off you go. And on the way, you can get all sorts of upgrades and power-ups and items that can completely change the kind of experience that you have.
So what do all the guns do? Are there any guns that have different features, or is it all just like damage related when you use the guns?
Oh, there's tons of different features that the guns have. Like some of the guns will spit out like mines. Some of the guns are like, you have your standard shotgun, your standard laser pistol, but there's like guns that shoot saw blades. And each gun has usually some kind of quirky quality. Like the saw blade gun has an inherent bounce. You shoot the saw blade and it bounces off of one wall before it stops, and then it kills whatever it hits. However, you can get an upgrade for that gun that will turn it into a shotgun. You can get like a shotgun modifier. So basically your gun's going to spit out like 10 or 15 saw blades, and they're all going to bounce everywhere. Like similarly though, if you have, say, a rocket launcher, you can find a bounce modifier, and the rocket will bounce off of walls like crazy. So you can kind of decouple your gun's qualities from the pickup that it gets, and you can kind of change things around. There's kind of a lot of different mix-ups that you can do to make the guns different and have a lot of variety.
That's awesome. And the more saw blades, the better, if you ask me.
I agree. You can also level up the gun with a straight leveling mechanic. As you pick up little blue experience points, the gun will actually upgrade and it'll get stronger and better. So there is a quality of building experience throughout. However, it's kind of done cave story style, where if you get hurt, you'll actually lose weapon experience. So it actually levels up very quickly and down levels just as quickly. You're constantly oscillating. You're trying to find level experience, you're trying to find weapon experience, you're trying to get health, you're trying not to get hurt. There's a lot of like running around and making very quick twitch-based decisions.
I saw there were like little mini stores where you could buy things. Were those perks, or were those like level upgrades?
You can buy, they're not really perks. You can buy like the weapon upgrades you can buy there. If you find an item, you can buy usable items. Like some of the usable items are like just, this is a healing item. And then some of the other ones are a little bit crazier, like this kills every yellow bad guy. Like there are some random items like that. And additionally, you can actually get things called badges from those shops, and those are actual like status upgrade. Like you can increase your speed, you can increase your jump height, you can increase your armor or your damage. You can also get double jumps. Actually, you can get triple jumps or quadruple jumps. I don't really limit it. You can get hundreds of those things, and that's actually a really fun build to play if you can manage to get hundreds of double jumps. I think the most I've seen so far from the YouTube community has been about 25 or 26 jumps. And at that point, they're literally flying around the room, and it's a lot of fun. It's a completely different way to play the game, but it's still valid because I try and make sure that if you can see an area of an arena, you can get there. If you have the right kind of items, there's something to do up there usually, or there's I hide a lot of secrets and stuff, or there's some kind of like tactical advantage to being up high.
So you mentioned the YouTube community. So is the game already out, or is it only in beta right now?
Right now it's in beta, but if you pre-order it, then you get alpha access, so like early access. And people have actually really responded to it well so far. I've had quite a few YouTubers like pick up the game and just be like, this is fun already, we'll play through it, even though it's totally only half done. They seem to be enjoying it, so that's really encouraging for me. I mean, I still obviously have a whole lot of work to do. But just the fact that there's starting to be a community built around it, it's really helped keeping me motivated and keeping me like pushing forward as fast as possible.
Now you say it's half done. What else has to be done to it? Are you going to add more levels, more characters, more content, or is it just tweaking?
At this point, it's mostly content and tweaking. There's going to be a lot of fine-tuning all the way up until the end, but a lot of the core systems are in place. A lot of the hard programming questions have been answered. From here on out, it's all the fun stuff. Making more arenas, making more bosses, making more items, making more guns. This is the kind of game that the more I add to it, the more fun it is. So it's like completely understandable to hold off buying it simply because you want to wait and get that first impression with all the randomness out there. So, yeah.
Well, it looks really awesome. And when we first came over here, there was quite a crowd around the computer here. How's the crowd been responding to it all day?
Pretty much everyone who's played it so far has walked away with a smile, which is good. All ages too. I was really surprised at the variety of ages that people have been enjoying it. We did lose power for a couple of hours there. Like the whole back wall here blew out, and so we were kind of having no crowd for a little while. But you know, every time that we've been up and running, we've had like non-stop people playing the game, people turning away smiling and saying they enjoy it. So. You know, if you want to see this game on Steam, please vote for it on Greenlight because it's on there right now. If you really want to get your hands on it now, you can pre-order it and you can get access to the alpha builds. If I do get on Steam, if people who have pre-ordered it will get Steam keys if I ever get on Steam. But otherwise, yeah, it's just, you know, watching people play, seeing what they think, and building out more of the game.
All right, so you mentioned Steam. Are there any other platforms you've been looking at for the game?
It's PC exclusive right now. I mean, I'm a PC gamer at heart, so I wanted to focus on that and make a game that I felt catered to those people in terms of being something that was a Twitch-based shooter, but for somebody who doesn't necessarily have all the time that they used to have when they were, you know, younger. Like, I don't have as much time to play games as I used to, so I still wanted that fast-paced first-person shooter fix, but being able to play it in a game that you can play on your lunch break, I feel is at least appeals to me as a gamer. So I'm focusing on PC first. If I do well enough, I'll try and push to Mac. If I do really well, I'll start looking into other consoles or other platforms. I mean, I would love to do I would love to do co-op multiplayer because it would be so much fun, but that's such an ambitious task. And as a single developer, I have to keep really focused. If I start spreading myself too thin, I'll never finish. So keeping my focus very narrow is probably my only hope of finishing the game.
Now, for us lowly console gamers, the next gen, you know, Microsoft and Sony have both been pushing how indie-friendly their next gen consoles are. Is there any chance to look for a Sony or Microsoft release for the next gen consoles?
Oh, well, absolutely. It's just the kind of thing that I have to save until I've finished the game. I can't be spreading myself too thin. I mean, I'll listen to anybody who wants to talk to me. I am more than willing to chat, but I have to keep my focus very narrow if I'm going to finish. So as for it being on Xbox or PlayStation 4, I would love it. I think it would be great. But I would have to let myself finish the PC version first.
Well, that's most important.
Right. Well, finishing the game is most important.
That's what I mean.
And PC is the easiest thing for me to push out onto. And then once I feel like I've got a complete game, then I'll start. And if the game is received well, we'll see if people would like to play the game on other platforms.
Now, for the initial release, do you have like a launch window you're aiming for right now?
My official release date is actually before the new Thief game comes out. The new Thief game comes out, they announced their release date at like February 20th, and I want to be able to stop what I'm doing and just play that game without feeling guilty. So my release date then becomes February 19th. I mean, hopefully I'll finish before then, because I'm actually going at a pretty good speed right now, but that's my like firm cutoff date.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the final release.
Thank you.